Hello, Anna. Hello, Thanos. Okay, hello, everyone. Hello, Rang. Hello, Golmareza. Hello, Gurpreet. Hello, Frank. I'm okay. How are you? Do you have a question, Gurpreet? Okay. Raise your hand. Did you raise your hand? If you raise your hand, I can bring you up. Do you see the raise your hand button? Hello, Gurpreet. How are you?
Hello, sir. Doing well. And what about you?
I'm okay. I'm all right. It's morning here. I'm not much of a morning person, so
Okay.
it takes me a little time for my brain to wake up. But I've been up for a couple of hours teaching lessons, but I still feel
Okay.
tired.
Mm,
So, what can I do for you today, Gurpreet?
okay, I understand. Okay, that's all right. Actually, nowadays I have to preparing for my IELTS exam, but sometimes I have to face some difficulties such as I have no idea how I have to explain my answer, such as a cue card related to a speaking part. Um for yeah, cue card. Sometime I have to elaborate my answer in very good way, adding some idioms and phrases, but sometime just my mind is immediately stuck. I really don't know what should I can do at that time. So you have to please suggest me how I have to avoid this mistake and how I have to improve my communication better, and I have to get a good band score. Yeah.
Okay, so I think you need to just work on trying to answer questions more and be more relaxed. So if you give yourself practice tests with similar questions, right? Which there are many websites that have IELTS practice tests and IELTS practice speaking questions, right? And a lot of the speaking questions are simple things like, tell me more about you kind of questions, right? So about your interests or something, and then they'll ask you more about that, right? So sometimes there are many websites like that. Have you followed me here for? Is this your first day, or have you watched me before?
Yeah. No, actually, it's my first day. Yeah.
Okay. So if you go to my website, you can find, you have to subscribe. Give me your email and subscribe. It's free. And on my website, there are many resources for you to practice IELTS speaking and practice speaking. So there, you can, here, let me show everybody. Wait a minute, everybody.
All right. I have to write down your website link.
Yeah. And
Let me just look.
so
Okay.
take a look, everybody. So here is my website here, okay? Which, ooh, actually, I got to fix the videos getting in the way. But this is my website, and if you go to my website, look, I have these buttons, and if you look at there's speaking right here, so there's a bunch of speaking practice stuff, and over here is a bunch of IELTS stuff, right? So if you click on these, they'll open up, and you can look, IELTS Advantage, IELTS Speaking, right? So lots of things for practicing speaking and IELTS stuff is right here. Whatever you need to work on. Look, reading, writing, listening, speaking, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciations, all right here. Okay?
All right.
So, yeah, if you go to my website, you'll find lots of stuff to work on for that. Okay?
Yes, yes, okay. And thanks a lot, sir. You have to share your own website, and I will definitely go for your website and check. Whenever I have to face some difficulties, I will definitely check out these strategies, like speaking module or even writing module. Yes.
And follow me here because I've been on Hello Talk for about 12 years, almost 12 years, and I have about 80,000 followers here. And they follow me for my English tips. So you'll get lots and lots of tips if you just follow and watch. I have a YouTube channel. I have a podcast. I've been teaching English for about 15, 16 years. So if you follow, you'll get lots of tips, okay?
Yeah, sure. That's really amazing, sir. That's really great work.
Well, then just keep working on it and check out my website and see if you can find some things to practice there that'll help you, which you should. I have it nice and organized for everybody to find everything easily. And explore. There are many links there. There are a lot of links there. So just take your time and explore and see what's available. Most of those are those are all free. All the sites that are there, they are free. But many of them, they probably have a VIP version or something, but you just use the free stuff. You know, you don't have to pay for it or buy it or whatever.
Okay. Would you mind, or sir? I have one last question.
Sure.
Why you have to share your website free of cost? What is the reason? You have to help from everyone's?
Well, my website is free, but if you want to buy lessons from me, those are not free. So some people buy lessons from me and get private lessons from me. And that's why I do this I do this because I want to help people. I do this because I like to teach. I do this because I think my tips are helpful and maybe you've never heard them before. So, but it's also my job. And so, yes, many people, if they want to buy lessons, they can go to my website and buy lessons from me, and then I can personally help them. Because right now I can help you, but I'm only helping you just a little bit. It's just a few minutes. But if you get a private lessons with me, then I have one-on-one time with you. I can help a lot more.
All right. So that's great, sir. And thank you once again. And I really don't know how much I have to thank you for you. Thanks a lot, and God bless you. So I think I have to go, and
Okay.
Right now I have must go on your website, and I have to follow what type of difficulties I have to face that time. Huh? So I have just fixed it.
Okay. And I'm here 10 times a week. I do 5 live streams and 5 voice streams a week. And I do lots of different topics. Today is an open topic session, so anybody can ask any question about English, anything. But some topics I teach about reading, about vocabulary, about pronunciation, about grammar. I teach, lots of different courses. But I also try to do many of these sessions that are open, where you can ask me whatever questions you have about English. Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you, Gurpreet. It was nice to meet you. And yeah, it'll come back and see me again sometime, okay? All right. Take care,
sure.
Gurpreet.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome. Bye-bye. Okay. Let me check on my YouTube people over here. Anybody over here on YouTube yet? No, not yet. Okay. How's everyone doing? If you have questions about English, then you should ask me. Type your questions in. I promise I can... well, no, I don't promise I can help. I promise I'll try to help. I promise I will try to help. What's the difference between gain and get? Well, get is one of the most versatile words in the English language, Dina. Get has more than 150... I can't remember. It's a lot, like 170, 180 meanings. So gain is a little bit more specific. So the word gain, to gain something means to increase something that you have in some way, to achieve something in some way, right? So, if you gain an ability, that means you now have a new ability, right? You have it. You've achieved it. You've attained it. You've gotten it. Okay. So to gain things is it's not as commonly used as get. Get we use all the time. Get the microphone, get the coffee, get the door, get the, whatever, get the computer, get out, get in, get over, onto, get through. There's many phrasal verbs. And so gain, though, let's do this. Gain versus get. So, gain is to acquire something gradually, often through effort, experience, or improvement. So, she gained a lot of experience from that job. Regular exercise helps you gain strength. He gained 10 pounds over the holidays. The politician gained public trust. We gained an hour by taking a shortcut, right? So, the way we use it is about knowledge or skill. So she gained a lot of experience from that job. That's knowledge and skill you're gaining. Benefits or advantages. Regular exercise helps you gain strength. That's a benefit or advantage, right? You gain it. Weight. He gained 10 pounds. Me. He gained 10 pounds over the holidays. I think I gained more than 10 pounds over the holidays. Yeah, so gain is for weight. And support or approval. He gained their approval. He gained their trust, right? And then time or speed. We gained an hour by taking a shortcut. Okay? So, gain suggests progress or effort or an increase in something valuable. Okay? But get is a general term. That means to receive, to obtain, to come into possession of something. So get that's one of the most commonly used words. We use it all the time. I got a new phone. She got a cold last week. He got angry. Can you get me a drink? I don't get what you mean, right? There are many, 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 many ways to use get. Yeah, get is a good word to study, especially all the phrasal verbs for get, because there are so many. Okay? What's the best book for vocabulary for upper intermediate? Parsa, the English vocabulary in use upper intermediate is good. There's a Longman dictionary that's upper intermediate that I like. Also, it's pretty good. But I honestly think once you get to the upper intermediate end of things, I think you need to approach vocabulary a bit more specifically, Parsa. Meaning, you need to figure out what vocabulary, what upper intermediate vocabulary you need for your life, right? So upper intermediate vocabulary is a little bit more specific and formal and academic usually. So that means it would be best if you try to figure out which groups of words, which topics of words, which field of words, which area of words is best for you to study, right? And so, in this case, I think it's better to do a deep dive in vocabulary, not from just a vocabulary book, but instead choose a topic and then study all the vocabulary words associated with that topic, right? And that's a simple Google search or a ChatGPT search. You just say, hey, give me all the associated words with computers, vocabulary words or terminology, right? Give me all the vocabulary or terminology associated with engineering. Give me all the vocabulary or terminology associated with culinary arts, right? With cooking, whatever. Then I also would try to study, I would do a lot more reading. Parsa, upper intermediate vocabulary is much, much easier to get if you just read intermediate reading material. Okay, upper intermediate reading material will help you get upper intermediate vocabulary. Okay, so I think the best way to do it would be to push yourself a little bit more with topics and with reading, and then join one of my etymology streams. And I think you might be ready for some etymology too, if you haven't done that already. Okay, I will get somebody else on the stage here in a minute, but how to work on vocabulary and grammar. Well, as I just said, vocabulary, there are vocabulary books you can get, and they're fine too. And there are lots of vocabulary resources online too, free ones that are online. But Golu, again, shameless plug, go to my website, everybody. Everything you need to study, whatever you want to study, it's right there. Okay? Everything you need to study is right there. You're so excited because you're getting older. All right. I'm not.你好，如果你觉得我说太快了，我觉得你可以试试看，听我。如果你可以听得懂一些一般的，这是 OK。Okay? All right? 加油！有时候我说快一点，有时候我说慢一点。Okay? All right. So if you do have a question, you can raise your hand and come up on the stage. And I will try to help you. Do I study at the university? Not right now. No. I study in life. Life is a university if you study all the time. Guys, if you want to come on stage, you have to hit the raise your hand button. There's a button for raise your hand. You have to hit it. Okay? Crystal wants to come talk to me. Let's talk to Crystal. Crystal, are you there? Do you want to come talk? Oh, there she is. Hello, Crystal. How
Hi,
are you?
teacher. Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Doing great. How about you, teacher?
I'm doing okay. I feel like my brain is a little tired this morning, but I'm okay. So, what can I do for you today?
Well, I only have one question here.
Okay.
What is the difference between synonymous and synonyms?
Ah, good question. Okay, synonyms are nouns. Synonymous is the adjective or adverbial form of it. Let me see. Synonymously would be adverbial. Adjective would be synonymous, right? So it's synonymous for blah, blah, blah. It's like adjective. It's similar to.
How can I use them?
So you can say happy and joyous are synonyms, right? They're both synonyms, right? So you're saying they're both nouns of the kind of synonyms, right? And or you could say happy and joyous are synonymous terms.
So synonymous is the relationship between those words.
Correct. Yeah, it's an adjective that describes the relationship.
All right, got it. And the second question is the word clerk. Is it the same as religious scholar?
Clerk and religious scholar? No. Clerk, the most common form of the word clerk, it's not a word we use very often anymore, to be honest with you. I mean, I haven't heard it in quite some time. But it's a job, okay? And it's for example, like a bank clerk is the person when you go to the bank and you go to get your money and you talk to that person, that's the clerk, right? An office clerk is somebody behind a window somehow that helps you with something, right? So let me check. I'm curious about where that word comes from. Let's check. Clerk comes from Old English. It comes from the word cleric. Have you ever heard the word cleric before?
Not really.
Yeah, it's a very old word. It's an old word that meant a priest or scholar or student, but usually a cleric was like they studied a lot and they were a priest, but they were like a healer, kind of a priest, you know, some kind of a thing like that. So, but the word clerk comes from the word clericus, which is a word meaning priest in Latin. And it's because, guess what? A long time ago, the regular people, they didn't have anything to do with writing or books or reading. Who did? The only people who ever did anything that had to do with anything with papers were the religious people, so the clerics, right? So the job clerk came from the word cleric because clerks deal with papers. Clerics dealt with papers. So a clerk is somebody, the modern definition of clerk, let's see, let me check one thing. Where can clerk be used? I know it's like bank clerk, but I want to check to see what other forms we've got
Also
here.
supermarket.
Right, supermarket clerk, right. But see, often in the supermarket now, we never say clerk anymore, we say cashier. Right. See, because they're not really a clerk. They're just a cashier. They're not dealing with papers. They're just dealing with cash. Right. So office and administrative work. Right. So the office clerk filed the documents. She works as a payroll clerk at a large company, a payroll clerk. Right. Dealing with the payroll papers. Right. Retail and customer service. The store clerk helped me find the right size. He got a job as a cashier and retail clerk. Right. So it's still used occasionally, but I feel like it's kind of fallen out of favor. I feel like maybe we use cashier more often than clerk, but I could be wrong. Then government legal work, banking and finance, hotel and hospitality. Generally, it's anybody that has to do with filling out some sort of papers. You know, so that's why at a hotel, that's also sometimes called the clerk, the hotel clerk. Why? Because you have to do some papers to get the hotel room, right? So, yeah. And it says in British English, clerk is less commonly used for retail workers. They prefer shop assistant. And in American English, clerk is more broadly used, especially in retail administrative roles. Yeah, I feel like it's fallen out of favor, though. I'll tell you what, I'm going to look that up later, and I'll see if I can find out whether it's still that common, or maybe I'm just crazy. You know, maybe it's still totally common. You know, I don't know.
All right, last question, if you don't mind me asking.
Sure.
Does it only used for the Christian's context when it comes to the religious context for this word?
Clerk?
Yes.
No, definitely not only for religious. Actually, I think it's very rarely used for religious context anymore. It's used for a religious context. If you're in a religious context, then maybe they might use it. But no, it's much more commonly used in an administrative or retail context more than a religious context. The word cleric is definitely mostly religious context. Yeah.
Right. What I meant is when it comes to Christian's context or any religious context, that was my question.
A question context or a religious context?
No, a religious context or a Christian's context.
Christian context. Is that what you mean?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I couldn't quite hear. I thought you were saying question context. Sorry. In a Christian context, the word clerk, I suppose, let me see. Okay, so yeah, clerk can be used in religious context, though it's less common in modern usage. That's what I thought. Yeah. Historically, it was a word that we used historically. And again, I think the word, even the modern version of the word, it was much, much more common. When I was growing up, the word clerk was common. It was an office job that had to do with papers. You called anybody who did stuff that helped you at the job, that was a clerk. Ask the clerk, right? But now I don't feel like we say just ask the clerk anymore. I feel like if you ask the kid in America, you know, hey, where's the clerk? They might be like, what? What's a clerk? I don't know. I could be wrong, but yeah. But the word clerk comes from cleric. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the modern alternative for this word when it comes to religious context is a religious scholar or a priest.
A priest. Priest is the most common word. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I think priest would be the most common word. I mean, there are other ones, but that's the most common one. Okay?
All right. Thank you so much, teacher.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right, Crystal, is that it?
Yes, teacher. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Take care, okay? So, yes, Crystal, everybody, her English is very good. So we were speaking with faster English that was a little bit more difficult. That's how this works. Okay? If you only can speak slowly and simply, then I will speak slowly and simply. But if you can speak quickly and fluidly, then I will speak quickly and fluidly. That way, everyone can get practice. Okay? Okay, and again, if you guys want, you can write your questions in the chat. Write your questions in the chat, and I'll answer them. Okay? If you have questions about vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation, listening, reading, writing, speaking, whatever, write your questions in the chat. Amerti wants to talk to me. Amerti, would you like to come on stage? You raised your hand. Let me try one more time. Failed to invite. Weird. I don't know why. What is the meaning of debilitating? Debilitating means something that's affecting you in some way that's hurting you, slowing you down, or preventing you from being healthy or doing something well. It's debilitating. Okay? The word debilitating comes from debilitate. To debilitate means to weaken, to impair the strength of, to enfeeble. I always loved that word. To enfeeble means to make feeble, which means to make weak. So it comes from the Latin word debilitatis, debilitare, which means to weaken, right? So debilis means weaken, or weak, or helpless. D means away, and bilis means strength. So there you go. To debilitate, to make you weak in some way. Okay? All right, what's the next question? How can you improve vocabulary from A1 to C2? Derek, you can't. You can go from A1 to A2, and from A2 to B2. A2 to B1, and B1 to B2, and B2 to C1, and C1 to C2. But you cannot go from A1 to C2. Understand, Derek? So, what am I trying to say? Derek, if you want to start learning vocabulary and be like a native, then start. Start. I don't care how you start. Stop wondering how, just do it. You know how. Look up words. Ask ChatGPT. Help me with vocabulary. Look up online. How do I learn vocabulary? There will be many vocabulary sites. And if you go to my website, there are many web pages for vocabulary study. Okay? So, but the point that I was trying to make, Derek, is you cannot go from A1 to C2. You can go from A1 to A2, A2 to B1, B1 to B2, B2 to C1, C1 to C2. That's what you can do. Step by step. Mohammed, every listening source you need is on my website. Go to my website. If you need studying, resources, go to my website. Everything's there. I promise. T2, what are you saying? When the teacher speaks English, I can understand, but once I'm in the company meeting, I can understand. How should I learn? Thanks. Luis, who are you listening to, Luis? Are they American? Are they Indian? Are they British? And are you listening to the same people every time, or is it different people every time? And are you able to record your meetings? If you're able to record your meetings and you have the same people every time, then you should record the meeting so you can practice listening later. And then the more you hear their voices, the more you will be comfortable when you're in the meeting, right? So you need to hear their voices more so you can be comfortable, okay? But you also need to know, where are they from? Are they from India? Do they have an Indian accent? Are they from England? Do they have a British accent? Do they speak quickly? Do they use big words? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? There are many things that you should consider, okay? feeble, F-E-E-B-L-E, F-E-E-B-L-E. It means weak. To enfeeble, E-N-F-E-E-B-L-E, means to make someone weak. You want to know why these sentences are different? I'm not made to cry. I'm not made for crying. Who told you they were different? The meaning is semantically the same. I'm not made to cry. I'm not made for crying. Those are semantically the same meaning. Means that crying is not something that is within me. I wasn't made for it. Jorge, to me, those are really semantically, the meaning is the same. Okay? I'm not sure who told you it's different, but I don't see any real difference. I mean, the difference could be argued, but the ultimate result would be the same. Okay, so 2 and 4 are different words and have a different way of saying it, but the result is the same. Okay? The words suppose and guess have the same meaning. Yes. Yeah, roughly. Suppose is slightly more formal. A supposition is a guess, but here, let me put it to you this way. Wait a minute. I think it's better if you consider the noun form of those words instead of the verb form. So they both mean roughly the same thing, that you have an idea about something without complete certainty, right? A supposition and a guess, right? You have an idea about something but without certainty. But a supposition, it's more formal and it's structured. It's more structured than guess is, which means it's usually used in academic, legal, and scientific, uses, right? A supposition. So his argument is based on the supposition that the data is accurate. The detective's supposition was that the suspect had an accomplice. Okay, but a guess is an attempt to provide an answer, an opinion without sufficient information or evidence. And this is more informal, and it's often based on intuition, chance, or limited knowledge. Okay, so I guess she's at home. Can you guess the number I'm thinking of, right? I wouldn't say, can you suppose the number I'm thinking of, right? So in English, we do often say, I suppose we can go to the store later, which means, yes, we can, after consideration of all the, important details, I think we can. So a supposition is a more formalized thought process of organized possibility, right? Supposed possibility, right? But a guess is just a guess. It's like, I guess. I'm not sure. Okay? What's the opposite? Strength. You have to practice the guth. Strength. Agony means great pain, or some kind of great pain is agony. So agony can be emotional pain or physical pain. Okay, I'm in agony could be my foot hurts, I'm in agony. Or I'm in agony because of, I lost my family in a car accident or something, or I'm agonizing. To agonize is the verb form of it, where you are worrying a lot. like you're filled with painful worry. Okay, regarding the speaking section of the IELTS test, how should I approach it? Should I talk from a personal experience or should I make something up? You should talk from a personal experience for sure, Hussein. You'll always be able to talk about yourself in reality better than you will with a lie. Then yeah, you know, just talk about yourself and your personal experiences for sure. Yeah. How can you use the word tear in the meaning of moving quickly? We don't use it too often that way, but we do use it that way occasionally. One moment. Let's see. So, for example, to tear through something is a phrasal verb form where, for example, maybe I have many, many papers to grade. I have 100 papers to grade, but I got through all of them very quickly. I tore through them. I'm going to tear through these papers means I'm going to go through them quickly. Yep, good, next. Yep, good, next. Yep, good, next. I'm tearing through it. I'm going through it really fast, okay? Or to tear down is, that's a phrase that we use to talk about usually buildings, right? To tear down a building. Is to knock down a building with force quickly, right? That's tearing it down. It's not slow. It's quickly. You knock the building down quickly, okay? Or to tear off is, or sometimes we say, she tore off down the road. She tore off down the road means she went quickly down the road. And then I think there's another way we use it sometimes where we say, at a tear. So you could say he tore across the field to catch the ball. The sports car tore down the highway at full speed. She's tearing down the road. She tore into the room out of breath. Okay. Let me see. Let me check one more thing. Yeah, you could also say he left the office at a tear, trying to catch the last train home. Or the car sped down the highway at a tear, weaving through traffic. The kids were at a tear all afternoon running around the playground. So, at a tear, in this case, means you are either moving with speed and urgency or you're energetic or wild in your behavior. Okay? The word deft, is it used for handy things? To be deft is to have great skill with something. It's similar to the word dexterous, okay? Or nimble or skillful, okay? That's to be deft. Or occasionally it means to be clever. He's very deft could mean he's clever, okay? Yeah, when we use the word deft, we're usually talking about it. I think we usually talk about it with skills. He's deft with a hammer. He's deft with a saw. He's deft with a tool. That would mean he's very good and skillful with that tool. But we also use it in a figurative sense about, abilities. Okay? He's deft at test taking. He's deft at driving. Okay? The opposite of to make weak would be to strengthen. Strengthen. Okay? So to enfeeble is to make weak. To strengthen is to make strong. What's the meaning of the word equity? Okay, so yeah, people often confuse equity and equality. Let's talk about those two very quickly. And be patient, please. So both equity and equality have the concept of fairness. Okay, they have fairness and justice, but there's a big difference between them. Equality means the same treatment for everyone, but equity means fairness based on individual needs. Okay, so a good visual example is if you can imagine three people that are different height. One guy who's tall, one guy who's in the middle, and one guy who's short, right? And they're trying to look over a fence. They're looking over a fence at a baseball game, okay? So the tall guy, he has an easy view over the fence because he's tall, right? But the short guy, he can't see very well because he's short, right? So equality would be each person gets the same size box. So I give you a box, but it's the same box that I give everybody. That's equality. I gave you all the same thing. Equity would be, well, the tall guy doesn't need a box. He doesn't need a box. He's already tall. Okay, and the short guy, he needs a bigger box because he's really short. And the medium guy, he needs the regular box, right? That's equity. Do you understand the difference? Okay, so equity means you have to look at the person and see what they need based on who they are and give them that to make it fair for everyone, right? Okay. Good morning, Tanya. Hello. You always hear people say convoluted. Convoluted, Larry, it means very complicated to a point that it's kind of silly. Okay? A convoluted test would be a test that somebody made it so complicated that it's a bit silly. Okay? It's confusing and complicated. That's convoluted. Okay? Administration meaning. Administration is it's a word that means where all the things that are administered are done. So what does administer mean? Wait a minute. So the word administer comes from the Latin word administrare, which means to help or assist or manage or control. Okay, so ad means to, and ministrare means to attend, right? To minister to. Have you ever heard that word, Jack? He ministered him back to health, right? Which would be meaning he served or waited upon him until he was healthy. Right? He helped him until he was healthy. That's to minister to someone. So the minister of finance, the minister of economics, right? We use the word minister in government. Why? Because ministers are supposed to administrate. They're supposed to deal with the things that people need to rule and direct and manage and control, right? So administration is usually a word we use to talk about a government, okay? This administration means this group of people in this government, okay? The next administration means the next group of people in the government, okay? And yes, my website is right there if you need my website. Okay, please be patient. to issue as a verb, to produce or provide something official. That's correct. To issue a ticket, Jack. So, for example, a police officer, if you park illegally, the officer will issue a ticket, which means to produce or provide you an official ticket, right? Or if you get married here, then you go to the church, but you also need to go to the court, and the court needs to issue you a marriage license, a marriage certificate. They need to issue it to you, which means they need to provide and produce something that's official for you, right? So to issue something is a word that does mean to provide you something that's official, to issue your driver's license, to issue your marriage license. Licenses are issued to you, okay? Yeah, okay? I think that should help you understand to issue, right? To carry something out. I think you mean, in this case, meaning like to carry out a task means to do. That's all. You know, carry out my orders is like a military way of saying, do what I say. Carry out my orders, okay? Which actually I'm curious where that comes from. Oh, I know where it comes from. Duh. How silly of me. Jack, to carry out my orders was because a long time ago, that's literally what they did, right? The king or the general would write his order and he would give it to somebody and say, carry it out and give it to the troops. He would carry out his orders. Here's my order. I wrote it down. Carry it out and give it to the people who need to know. That's to carry out my orders, to carry out this thing, okay? That's where it comes from. And hello, Faradis and Flavia over there in my YouTube. Okay, please be patient. Would you use spare somebody's feelings? I want to know how to use that. Yeah, to spare somebody's feelings, it means... it means to be compassionate and not be cruel to someone, right? So, let me see. That's a good way. So you could say, he didn't tell me the whole truth about the situation because he wanted to spare my feelings. Okay? Which means to avoid telling you something or doing something that would likely hurt you or make you feel bad. Right? So they pretended to enjoy the movie even though it was terrible just to spare my feelings. So here's a good example, Mona. You go to grandma's house for dinner. Okay, and grandma's getting a little bit older, and grandma used to be an amazing cook, but grandma's cooking's not so good anymore. And so, but you're not going to tell grandma her cooking's not good anymore. So you eat the food and you smile and oh, it's so delicious, grandma. Why? Because you want to spare her feelings. You don't want to tell her her cooking's not so good anymore. You spare her feelings, okay? Can I speak Chinese? 我不会说，为什么你问我? Hello, Meshchak. What's the difference between accurate and correct? Sukianya, nothing really. They're the same thing. Accurate, correct is more general. Correct means this is the correct answer. Accurate could be more about meaning that the numbers are precisely the same, right? So accurate versus correct. So accurate means that you're confirming something that is true or a fact, right? With care. It's accurate because you were careful, right? It's accurate. But correct means free from fault or error. So if you ask me, 2 plus 2 is 4, is that correct? That's correct. It's without error, okay? But if I say, let's see. So if you have data, maybe you do weather data, right? You're collecting weather data about how hot it is. And somebody could look at the data and say, is this data accurate? It means, is it precisely correct? Okay, so I think the difference really is a matter of precision. Okay, correct can just be right or wrong. Accurate means a precise amount or the similar effect of something. All right, so let's see. So we use accurate when we're talking about measurements, right? Was that an accurate measurement, right? We use, if you want to be more precise, talk about using the word accurate. If you're talking more general, right and wrong, or generally the same, you could say correct, okay? Ooh, that was harder than I thought to explain. Oh, please be patient, please be patient, please be patient. I'm drinking iced coffee, Neil. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for the next question. Am I using ChatGPT or a dictionary? I am using many things. I use ChatGPT. I use a dictionary. I also have another one that's an etymology dictionary. I have many resources that I use to get my answers. A good teacher should. You know, teachers are not gods. They're guides. So I don't have every answer in the world, but I can explain it to you probably better than if you just read it yourself. Okay? In what context is deft usually used, Miriam? I think it's usually used when we talk about skills. Okay? So, for example, the surgeon, a deft surgeon, is a surgeon who's really good. He's very skillful, right? So the surgeon performed a deft operation, making precise incisions with steady hands. Or the pianist's hands danced across the keys with deft movements, right? The pianists that have great fingers and movements, right? So they're deft, right? She handled the delicate situation with a deft touch, calming everyone down. Okay, so deft is usually used when we talk about some sort of skill. Okay, if you use it in terms of an actual tool, we use the term with. Deft with a blah, blah, blah. Deft with a hammer, right? Something like that. Okay. Okay, why isn't there an entry for the phrase talk down on in the dictionary? Because there is no talk down on, actually, Larry. We do say talk down to, but we don't say talk down on at all. We do say down on some things, but we don't say talk down on something. Okay, but talk down to, that's to be condescending, right? Which means that I'm better than you, so I'm going to talk down to you. Okay, that's to be condescending. Deeksha, procrastination, pro means forward and crastinate means wait or till tomorrow. So basically, procrastination means, oh, I can do it tomorrow. Oh, I can do it tomorrow. Oh, I can do it tomorrow. No, it's okay. I can do it tomorrow. That's procrastination. If you always put things off until tomorrow, you're procrastinating. Huh? 10. What a silly question. I don't smoke. Simultaneous means at the same time. At the same time. Simultaneous. Okay? So, they sneezed simultaneously. That means two people at the same time. Achoo! They sneezed simultaneously. Okay? Can we use delay and postpone instead of procrastination? Not exactly. No, because to delay or to postpone, those could be for good reasons. Procrastinate means you should do it now, but you keep making excuses to do it later. Okay, so procrastination is not a good thing. Delaying or postponing could be for good reasons. Procrastination is never for a good reason. Okay? You've come across the phrase bring to bear on, which roughly means exert. Right. You mean, yeah. It does. It means to have an effect on. So the word bear occasionally can mean to carry. To carry, like, I can't bear the weight. I can't bear the pressure, right? So to bring to bear on, in this case, means to exert force on. Okay? Yeah. Like to put a force on, like you're carrying something. Okay? The sentence, that's all right, follows thank you or I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If somebody says I'm sorry, you can say, no, that's all right. That's all right, Linda. 就是没关系，没事，没事，没关系. Okay? That's all right. Okay? 没问题. No problem. Okay. Oh, and that's correct. Julian. Pardon me. Oh, my throat. Julian is correct. It is, that's all right. It should be one word. All right should be one word, not two. Okay, thank you for that, Julian. I didn't notice. What's the difference between provoke, evoke, and trigger? Good question. One moment. Provoke comes from the Latin word provocare, which means pro means forth and vocare means to call. So provoke means somebody is calling you out. They're provoking you. They're saying, I want to fight. Okay, that's to provoke someone, is to yell at them. It means, the word actually means, voke means vocal, like vocal, your voice, right? So forward, meaning you yell forward something with your voice to get someone upset. That's to provoke, okay? To evoke is a word that means to bring up, right? To bring up, meaning it evokes sadness, right? So it calls it forth, okay? So in this case, the word voke means call, and e means up, right? It means out, call out. So it evokes an emotion, okay? It evokes sadness, it evokes anger, it evokes, so to evoke means to call forth some sort of emotion. Provoke means to call somebody out that you want to fight, that you want to, you are trying to anger them. You're provoking them, okay? And trigger is a word that comes from guns or any kind of old crossbow, for example. So when you have the gun and you pull this thing, the thing you pull is called the trigger, okay? And actually, It comes from. It comes from the word. It's a German word, Drucker, which means a trigger or to press. Drucken, to press. So, to trigger, the original meaning of trigger is a noun, meaning the thing that you pull that sets off the gun or the crossbow. Okay, so to trigger someone means you do something that sets them off to make them upset. Okay, he triggered my anger. You know, like, I'm sorry, I tried not to get upset, but he triggered my anger. Provoke would be the same thing. It's just a more formal word to use. Okay. Evoke is used to talk about calling forth some sort of emotion. Okay. How to pronounce chicanery. Chicanery is the word. Chicanery. It's not a word we ever use anymore, though, Aisha. Nobody ever uses the word chicanery anymore. So don't worry about it. It comes from the French word that means trickery. Okay, let's see. I'm going as fast as I can, so please be patient. Let's see. Jay, we don't talk about politics here, okay? There's no politics allowed on Hello Talk, and you should know that. Let's see. Anand, if you want to know the time of my classes, then you should go to my website, and on my website you can find my schedule. So go to my website, and you can sign up, okay, and you will get my schedule there. You can see all my voice rooms and live streams, okay? Let's see. And yes, again, Linda, I already said, if someone says, I'm sorry, you can say that's all right. And it's just like in Chinese when someone says, 不好意思, 你说没关系, 没事, 没关系啊. Okay? So, same thing. That's all right. 没关系. Okay? How to pronounce the TH in thought and think. Sukenya, the TH in thought and think is what we call the voiceless TH sound. There are two ways to make a TH sound, voiced and voiceless. So the TH sound in thought and think is voiceless. It has no sound, only air, right? So what you should do is take your tongue, put it between your teeth just a little bit, then blow air over it like this. Think. Thought. Think. Thought. Okay? That's the unvoiced TH sound. The voiced TH sound is almost the same, but you're also going to kind of buzz your throat to make a sound like this, that, these, those. And the big difference is the voiceless sound has a lot of air. You can feel the air. Think. Thought. That's a lot of air. Okay? Thought-provoking. So you can be thought-evoking and thought-provoking. If something is thought-provoking, that means it brings many thoughts that are challenged in your mind. Thought-evoking would mean many thoughts come. Many thoughts come. But if you say thought-provoking, it means many thoughts are challenged in your mind. Okay, they're challenged, like they're calling out your ideas. Okay? What's the difference between evaluate, comment, remark, and assess? Let's see. Comment, 就是你说什么?你想什么? What do you think? 你说什么? 你想什么? 你写, 就是你的 comments. Okay, that's comment. Okay, remark, 我觉得这是差不多的意思，可是就是 that's more formal. More formal. Okay. To remark on something is to comment on something, but it's a little bit more formal. Okay. To assess and evaluate, well, 觉得就是差不多的意思. Those are about the same. Again, both mean to look at something and decide, is it good or bad in some way? Okay, to evaluate something and to assess something is to look at it and to say, is it good or bad? Okay, so comment and remark, 差不多的意思，可是 remark 就是比较我忘记那个 formal 比较正式的。比较正式的 right? And then evaluate and assess, 我觉得这是差不多的意思，一样的，都可以。Okay? What's the difference between I rebuke it and I refuse it? Oh, and for everybody else who doesn't speak Chinese, comment and remark, same thing. Remark is more formal. Evaluate and assess, same thing, interchangeable. You can use, I assess the situation, I evaluate the situation. She evaluated my test, she assessed my test. Same thing, roughly. Okay, what's the difference between I rebuke it and I refuse it? Rebuke is not a word we commonly use, Crystal. It's definitely much more formal. Refuse is much more common. Let's see. Rebuke comes from the Latin. Oh, no, it's from French. Rebucher, which means back, to strike back. Yeah, it means to strike back, actually. Interesting. So, to rebuke means somebody said something and you say, no, I rebuke that. Means you say, that's wrong. I'm here to say that is, I directly say that this is wrong. I rebuke what they're saying. Okay? And refuse just means I don't want it. It's an official way to say I don't want something. I refuse to sign this paper. I refuse to be taken advantage of. I refuse to listen to this anymore. Okay? Hello, Allison. Thank you, Ellen. To that assessment, is that idiomatic? No, I don't think that's idiomatic. No. You're welcome, Sukenya. How to pronounce talk? Talk. Talk. About through. What about through, Natalia? Do you have a question about through? Vietnamese ha, xin chào. Can I give you some advice because you don't have a practical environment to speak English and you can't afford to take an English class? Stay motivated. Vietnamese ha. May asked me, why is my Chinese so good? My Chinese is good because I think in Chinese every day. I live in the United States, but when I wake up in the morning and I brush my teeth, shui yi, okay, and I make breakfast with zuo fan. Okay, zuo fan, right? I think in Chinese, so that means that the words are comfortable, that I can explore language without anyone. I don't need anyone else. I just need the language and me and the world. That's the way that you can get motivated. And that's the way that language becomes fun, because language actually becomes a tool you can use. If you don't make language live up here, then it's always outside of you. You have to take it and use it with a tool. You have to think about it before you do it. But if you use it inside your head, you don't have to think about it. It's there. That's what you just do. It's already in your thoughts that way. You understand? Okay? So, I can speak Chinese because I can think Chinese. So the same thing is true for you. You need to think in English every day. You definitely need to try to create an English environment. Watch English shows, videos, English music, read English books, read English news, read English whatever. Okay? Yeah. How do you pronounce Italy? Italy. Italy. Billy. Why the definition of cubed is different in dictionaries? Larry, I don't know what's different. Cubed means it's a math term. It can mean two things. It could mean to make something cubical. It could make something in a cube form. It's cubed. Or something is in a cubed form. Or it could be a math form, a math term, right? Squared and cubed. Okay? And yes, rebuke means to reproach. That's similar. That's correct. Yeah. Oh, wow. You guys have so many questions today. Larry, I don't know. You got to ask them, man. I didn't write the books. You can't ask me why they do it differently. Ask them. Okay? I didn't write the books. It's not my responsibility. And I suck at math, so I can help you with English, but I can't help you with math. Ramadan Mubarak to everybody. Thank you, Esha. Mentally, I'm living in China. That's right, right. So it doesn't matter what language you speak. It matters what language you think. Okay? You have a question tomorrow? I will go to Beijing rather than Shanghai. Tomorrow I will go to Beijing instead of Shanghai. What's the difference? Yangda. That's the same, Thomas. Okay? In English, there are many ways to say the same thing. That's one of them right there. Okay? I will go to Beijing rather than Shanghai. I will go to Beijing instead of Shanghai. 差不多的意思. Good, May. Very good. Which sounds more natural? Okay. Which sounds more natural? I think they're both the same, really. I don't think... 都可以. When you say center, can you use it without the T sound? So, Billy, in English, there are many, many words that have a hard T when you say them slowly, but as you speed up, the hard T becomes a soft D. Okay, so if I say the word center, yeah, there's a hard T in it when I say it slowly, center. But when I speed it up, what happens is I want you to think about it like they took the letter T and the pronunciation of it is T, but now we're going to take and we're going to cut off the front half of it. We're going to cut off the front half of the letter T. So you still have half of the letter T, but it's not the strong part. It's not that strong part. So now the letter T is center. Okay, like better. When I say it slowly, better. But when I speed it up, better. Okay? Is as opposed to the same as instead of. No. As opposed to means to oppose to means to be the opposite of something. They're related. The word opposite and opposed. Opposite things are opposed to one another. Okay? So, if we take this road, it will take 1 hour, as opposed to this road, which will take 2 hours. So, which means you have two ideas that are opposing ideas in some way. There are two choices that you can make. They oppose each other in some way. Okay? But instead of is just a different choice. I want chocolate instead of ice cream. Okay? I wouldn't say I want chocolate as opposed to ice cream. Okay? I would say this road is 1 hour as opposed to this road, which is 2 hours. I'm describing how they're different. Okay. How are they oppositional? How are they opposite? Okay. Do you need to learn English rules to learn English? 一些，你需要一些。Okay， 如果你要做那个英文课，英文考试还是英文课，你需要。OK， 可是如果你要说话，你需要学一些。Okay，a little grammar. Okay. Of course, you need grammar. Every language has grammar. You need some of it. Okay? For short-term conversation, I feel like I'm good, but when it comes to long-term conversation, I feel like I make lots of grammar mistakes. So does everyone. Grammar, Diksha, grammar, everybody, listen to me. Do you have a kitchen table, everybody? Let me ask you a question. Do you have a kitchen table? Do you have a kitchen table, guys? Yeah, you have a kitchen table? So, if you have a kitchen table, do you clean it every day? Do you wipe it down every day? Right. That's grammar. Grammar is the table that you clean every day. You're never finished with it. You're never finished with it. You just have to try to keep working on it. And you have to keep it clean. Okay? It gets dirty every once in a while. But just keep cleaning it every day. You have to keep it clean. It's the table you always clean. All right? That's grammar. I'm drinking coffee. Iced coffee. What should you know? You can understand Americans but not British people. Don't worry about it. Olia, keep trying. Try to find. There are some British people who you will be able to understand. So you have to try more. Find someone who speaks slowly enough for you and whose accent is clear enough for you. There are many people who sound. Every country has people who some sound more clear and some sound less clear. Right? So you need to find someone who sounds more clear and then listen to them. Okay? Grammar gives you context. Yeah, sometimes. But grammar can also confuse context if it's not explained properly, too. And grammar can also get in the way because sometimes we overthink, So, Kimmy, I teach I like to consider grammar to be something that everyone needs, but not everyone needs to the same degree. Which means that if you're studying in a university and you're taking the IELTS test or the TOEFL test, that's completely different than if you are traveling or playing video games or, typing on Facebook. Okay? Now, I'm not trying to say that I approve of poor language, but I'm just trying to say that I think that grammar is the number one reason why people are afraid of languages around the world. And so we get too worried about the rules, and then it's like you're driving, and it's kind of like you're trying to remember every page of the driver's manual while you're driving. You're too nervous. You're going to wreck because you're too worried about the rules, right? So when we drive, what do? We don't think about the rules. We know them. We know we need to know them because you can get in trouble if you don't, right? You can get hurt if you don't, but you don't think about them, right? So, yeah. How do you pronounce over? To say something is over. It's over. O-O-O. Over. Make your mouth bigger. Okay? What do I mean? I mean, 每天你需要做，每天你需要学. Okay? if you want to study grammar, you have to do it a little bit every day. You have to work on it a little bit every day. Don't try to finish it. There is no finishing grammar. There's no finishing language, period. So I'm trying to say you have to maintain it. Okay, you have to maintain the cleanliness of your table. You have to maintain the cleanliness of your grammar. That's what I mean. Okay? You try to make it as clean as you can. All right? How many languages do I know? I know Chinese and I know English, and I'm still learning Chinese, of course. You never stop. I know a little bit about a bunch of other languages, but just a little bit, Alexander. I know, a few words in probably 12 or 13 languages. Granny wants to know some books for reading that are easy English. Granny, go to my website, and on my website you will find, if you sign up for my website, you'll find a button that says reading. Go there and you'll find all the stuff you need to practice reading. Okay? Or, Granny, another great way to practice reading now, Granny, is use ChatGPT. You can tell ChatGPT, give me short stories to read, not books. Start with short stories. Short stories you can read quickly. A short story could be 5 minutes. It could be a half an hour. It could be an hour. Okay? A book usually needs some time. Okay? And that's okay, too. I love books. But for easy English, try shorter things, okay? You find difficult with this unless and either, neither, nor. Okay, either, neither. I like, let's see. So either and neither, they mean the same thing, but one is in the positive sense and one is in the negative sense. So when you have a positive choice to make, you have either this or that. When you have a negative choice, when you're telling someone, I don't want both of these, I don't want them. I want neither chocolate nor vanilla. I want neither chocolate nor vanilla. Or they could say, which one do you want, chocolate or vanilla? Do you want either chocolate or vanilla? Right? That's a positive choice. Do you want chocolate, either chocolate or vanilla? I want neither chocolate nor vanilla. Okay, so if you're trying to say in the negative two things, then you say neither nor. If you're trying to say in the positive two things, you say either or. Okay? And then unless is just, unless you study more, you will fail the test. Unless you go to sleep right now, you can't have a party tomorrow. Unless you tell me what's wrong, I can't help you. Okay, so unless is very different than either, neither, nor stuff. Okay? Climate and weather, how can you use it? Weather is when you're talking about the daily stuff, Carlos. Daily stuff, like the weather's been great lately. Climate is when we're talking about global things and we're talking about over time. Over time. So weather is, climate is weather over time and larger areas. Okay? So the weather in my city today was beautiful. Okay, the climate is beautiful every year. So meaning the climate of my city would be talking about the yearly climate, right? Like how does it feel in general? The weather is today, okay, or in the near present, okay? You can't understand an Indian accent. Well, it takes practice. It takes practice. And you have to find, there are some people with Indian accents who are easier to understand and some people who are more difficult to understand. Okay? When native people speak, it feels as if they were chewing gum in their mouth. They chew words. Because, baby, we learned our language a long time ago. Okay? We learned language in school. And this is the natural progression of anything that you learn. Everything that you do, The more you do it, the motion, the exaggeration of it becomes less and less and less. So when we started school, we learned A, E, I, O, U. But then over time, as we become more natural with our language and we speak more quickly, A, E, I, O, U becomes A, E, I, O, U. And yes, for you, that's much harder. That's why I open my mouth so much when I speak here, to be very clear. Okay? So, but that's the nature of every language. Anybody who learns any language, in the beginning, they are very clear and they pronounce things very clearly. But over time, it's natural for things to become more loose and quick. Okay? But you have to, and then here's my other tip, baby. Don't listen to just anybody. There are, wait a minute, hold on, let me see here. I can't remember what's the current number here. There are about 350 million people here. Not all of them speak well. Okay? That's, you just have to understand. If you want to find someone who's really good at something, that's a small number of people. Think about how many people play piano in the world, and now think about what percentage of them are brilliant at it. What percentage of them are really good. Think about how many people, let me think, I don't know, swim in the world. Lots of people swim. How many people are brilliant at it? Right? So, speaking, same thing. Just because you have 350 million people who speak does not mean that they all speak brilliantly. Only, 1 to 3% of them maybe speak brilliantly. Find them. Listen to them. Okay? If you listen to just some guy, then don't be surprised that you can't understand just some guy. Okay? The word doll, grass, doll. It's very similar to the word call. Call me later, doll, call. Okay, doll and call are rhyming words. I don't know 13 languages. No. I know a few words. I know a few words in 13 languages. Okay, so I know a little bit of Latin. I know a little bit of French. I know a little bit of German. I know a little bit of Spanish. I know a little bit of Italian, Russian, Japanese, Slovak. So I know a little bit of a bunch of languages, but just a little, guys. That's not hard. It's not hard to learn 10 words in someone's language. That's not a hard thing. 3 years to get a band 8 in the IELTS. I don't know. That depends on you. It could be 6 months. It could be 3 years. It could be 10 years. That there's no one can tell you how long. No one can answer that question. Okay. Why would it happen with me every time someday I speak English? So what? Rome, well, some days you speak English well and some days you can't even speak basic English. One reason is because you just don't use English enough. So spend more time thinking in Chinese. I'm sorry. Spend more time thinking in English, and then you'll be more comfortable with English. Okay? When you get nervous, what should you do? Relax. Mahmoud, relax. Take a deep breath. It's just talking. It's just talking, everybody. You're not flying a plane. You're not swimming with sharks. You're not fighting a lion. You're not, running from a bear. It's just talking. Relax. Okay? What does discriminating mean? To be discriminating, it means to be a very careful chooser of something, right? If you choose things very carefully, then you are discriminating. You discriminate. So to discriminate means to regard two or more things differently. Okay? The word discriminate, let's look up where it comes from again. I remember this, but I've forgotten. Let's see. Discriminate. There it is. Discriminate comes from the Latin word discriminatus, which means to divide or separate. So dis means off and away, and cinere means to distinguish. Okay, so discriminating, if you say, let me think, he's a very discriminating listener, it means he's a very careful listener. Okay, he selects what he's listening to carefully. Okay, so to be discriminating means that in most of the time it means that you have an ability to choose things carefully, to recognize the differences between things carefully. That's to discriminate. Okay. Which parts of grammar actually matter in speaking, and do we need to polish it every day? Yeah, you do need to polish it every day. Which parts of grammar matter in speaking? Sentence structure matters in speaking. The understanding what words do, right? What does a verb do? What's the function of the word, right? Noun, verb, adjective, adverb. Understanding that, what do the words do? What's their purpose? And what order should they go in? Those are two things that you kind of really should focus on in the beginning, at the very least. Okay. All right. Do we need IPA? Grind it? I say no. I don't think you do. There are some people who think IPA is great. I think for maybe about 5% or maybe 3% of learners, IPA is good for them. But for the rest of people, the people, I think IPA is too much work. I think it's overthinking it. And to make a point, native speakers don't learn it. If you ask the average American about IPA, they have no idea. So I don't think you need IPA, but I think you do need phonics. Okay? So phonics are very important. I don't think it's worth it to spend the time to learn a written form of a sonic pronunciation. That's a weird thing to do. It's a weird thing to try to write down a sound when you could just hear it. So phonics, very good. But phonetics from phonetic alphabet, I don't think it's worth it. What's the difference between used to and to be used to? Okay, that's a good question, Maria. To be used to something means that you're comfortable and familiar with it, okay? Let's see. I'm used to going to the store to pick up my brother every day after school. It means it's common. It's normal. It's in my schedule. I'm used to it. Okay, I'm comfortable and familiar with it, right? But I used to be a drummer. I used to be a blah, blah, blah. Means previously I was a something. Okay, so I used to, she used to, he used to. That means previously they were something. Okay, I used to go to the movies every weekend. Previously I went to the movies every weekend. Okay, but to be used to something means more like you're comfortable and familiar with it. Okay? Like maybe somebody says, your dad seems like he's kind of an angry guy. And you just say, oh, I'm used to it. Means I'm just comfortable with it. I'm familiar with it. It doesn't bother me. Okay? But I used to talk to my friend every weekend, but now we only talk once a year. Previously, I did. Okay? You have trouble understanding other people when they speak. You feel nervous to answer. Ruth, the only way to get to the other side of the tunnel is to go through it. So, keep trying to understand and keep speaking. It's okay if you make a mistake if you don't understand. It's okay if you say, I don't understand. It's not something to be embarrassed about. You're learning. A student is not expected to know everything. So, it's okay if you don't understand. You can say, I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Okay? And Ruth, if you're learning another language, you should learn how to ask if someone can speak more slowly or simply for you. You can just say, I'm sorry, my English is not very good. Can you speak a little bit more slowly and simply for me? Let me say that again. I'm sorry, my English is not very good. Can you please speak a little bit more slowly and simply for me? Ask them, and they will. And then your life will be easier. Okay? What kind of people is IPA good for? I think IPA is good for the people who are very obsessive about detail, right? So there was a guy I met here years ago who he was, where was he from? I think he was Chinese, if I remember right. And he studied IPA to learn British pronunciation, and he was fantastic. His pronunciation was perfect, and it was amazing. But I could tell from talking to him that he is a very, very detailed person who does things with great focus. To do IPA, I think you need to be that kind of a person. Okay? I think for those people, it's great. All right? Do I take rhetoric class? No. Why? Should I? Do I need to? You spoke in English in public in front of more than 30 people at your work explaining some projects. Good, Romana. Good. Bravo. Brava. Tame, I can't tell you. I have no idea who you are, Tame. There is no person on this earth who can tell you how long it will take you to achieve something. Don't ask how long it takes. Just start, okay? Anytime you ask how long it takes, I only hear that you're lazy. I'm sorry, Tame. I don't want to insult you. But when someone asks how long it's going to take to get there, it's like you're already impatient and we haven't even started the trip yet. So don't ask how long the journey takes, man. Just start walking. Okay? Don't ask how long. Just start. Okay? You used to learn vocabulary from Mary Bromberg book, but you're not able to retain these words or use appropriately when required. Baby, then you need to study more, and you need more resources. You need more ways to learn. You should learn vocabulary, and you should read, and you should write, and you should listen, and you should speak, and you should practice grammar, and you should do pronunciation. You can't just use one book to learn English. Okay, what would you say if I wanted to learn your language and I only had one book? Would you say that's a good idea? No, it's not. Okay? Some days you're a native speaker, and some days even Google Translate gives up on you. Yeah, but that's language, man. That's language. Some days you make beautiful music, some days not so much. It's okay. It's okay. Is there a difference between politics and policy? Yes, policy. Let's see, how do I describe this? Politics is the general concept of any kind of wait, let me think about my words for a minute to make sure I'm very careful about what I say. Let me look up something very quickly. It'll help me. So policy versus politics. Let's see. So policy that's the rules, right? That's a plan or the set of rules. That's policy, right? But politics is a more general term that refers to the process of power, the process of decision making. That's politics, okay? So policy is the actual plan or the rules. Politics is the concept of making a plan and rules, okay? I'm glad you like my lessons, Linda. Thank you. What's the difference between disdain and contempt? Not much. Not much. To show disdain, to show contempt, they're pretty much the same. It means you're showing no respect for someone, right? If you're kind of showing disrespect, then you're showing disdain. You're showing contempt. Okay, you don't respect their authority. You don't respect their power. You don't respect their ideas. So the way you act, it shows that. Then you're showing disdain. You're showing contempt. There's really no difference. Okay. I don't think. You thought we all know how to use IPA? No, man. No. I'm an English teacher and I don't even know it. No. When do we use there is and when do we use there are? Well, that depends on plural and singular. So, there is no reason why you shouldn't learn English. There is no reason. So I said reason, which is one. So I use is. There are no reasons why you shouldn't learn English. Reasons is plural, so that's why you use are. Okay, so you have to match the plural or singular word with the plural or singular word. Meaning there is singular, there are is plural. Okay? Some believe that universities should give them all the knowledge they need to find a job. Well, I actually kind of agree to some degree. I do think that universities do need... There's a difference between a university and a trade school. A trade school is a place where you learn stuff for a job. That's what a trade school is for. So if you want that, then go to a trade school. But a university is supposed to be something that develops the character of the person to make you understand the world you live in better so that you can make better decisions about the world. A university is not supposed to just be a place you go to make more money at a better job. That is not the purpose. Okay? So, however, I do think that, for example, in Europe, there are many companies that have a much more closer relationship with the schools, the companies and the schools, and they work together to try to train the kids to both build their character and understanding of the world and also apply it towards some direct skill. That is good, and I do approve of that. A university should help someone find work in some way. That would be a good idea, but it's different than a trade school. You've never been abroad to Europe. You're going to the UK. Some tips for training your English before traveling. Well, I would spend some time. I assume you're going to London, so I would definitely spend some time listening to British people from London. There are a few accents in London, if I understand correctly, but I would start with just a standard British accent and try to listen to as many people as you can. And yes, Miriam, this live stream is on YouTube. Yes. And hello, Miguel. Good to see you, my friend. And it's right here is my YouTube. Okay, let's see. Please be patient, everybody. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. You don't have a good memory to remember vocabulary. Mark, I say this all the time on my streams. If you want to remember words, you have to spend time with them. Just like if you want to remember people, you have to spend time with them. Okay? If you don't spend time with a person, you won't remember them. If you don't spend time with the words, you won't remember them. It's that simple. Yes, I am a teacher. That's why it says Teacher Mark. If you practice speaking 4 hours per day, you can achieve fluency in 6 months? No. Xmind, you cannot possibly say that with any truth or accuracy. There are billions of people in the world. Everybody has different ability, different resources, maybe disabilities. Some might have talent. Some might have previous knowledge. Some might... It's different from a person who's Chinese compared to a person who's a Spanish speaker. So you cannot say that... No, nobody can say how long it will take. Anybody who does is full of it. Is there a difference between grammar with an A and grammar with an ER? There is no grammar. Well, unless the British do it that way. Let me check. Hold on. Do the British spell it that way? I don't think they do. Yeah, grammar with an ER is a misspelling. That's what I thought. I wasn't sure if maybe the British spelled it that way, but no. Grammar is Grammar. There is no Grammer. Okay? You want advice about writing. Ashraf, okay, right. There, I gave you advice about writing. Ashraf, you have to give me more. I don't know what the problem is. What's the problem? Why do you want advice about writing? What's wrong with your writing? Tell me that. Does shrewd have a negative connotation? It can. I think in most cases, Miriam, the word shrewd is usually used in a positive sense about business, right? A shrewd businessman, right? But that depends on your feelings about business, right? So I guess what I would say, Miriam, is the word shrewd has no connotation itself. It's only what you feel about that, right? So if you think it's good to have a business sense where maybe you trick people every once in a while, but you make good money, that's shrewd. Then, okay, that's cunning. That could be negative. But if you think it's, I'm sorry, that could be positive. You're saying it's business is business, right? So you have to be shrewd in business, right? But if you think it's not good to be, to take advantage of people to make a buck, then maybe you think shrewd is a bad word sometimes, okay? Can you explain how to use have? Carlos, have is there's has and have. So I have, you have, they have. She has, he has, it has. Okay? So have is what you use when you're talking about I, we, or they. Okay? Or you, also, you have. I have, you have, they have, we have. Okay? He has, she has, it has. Okay? There's a rule for that. How often do I go live? I have 5 live streams and 5 voice streams every week. Go to my website and you'll find my schedule. Okay? Okay, please be patient, guys. I'm trying to catch up, but you guys are giving me so many questions. I don't even have time to talk with somebody on stage today. Thank you, Joe. Do I use Douyin? Not yet, but I will soon. TikTok's different than Douyin. You have a difficulty about the TOEFL. Madam, then go to my website and you'll find lots of resources for the TOEFL and the IELTS. Okay? If you want to go to my website, then you'll find lots of resources for that. Okay? Okay, let's see. What shall I do if sometimes in a conversation I do not understand all the sentences but just the meaning in total? Usually that's okay, Leonardo. Usually that's okay. I think that's the way it is for everybody who learns languages. There's a certain amount of a percentage that you understand, right? Once you reach 60%, I feel like once you get to about 60%, then you can start making guesses about what they said, right? So that's how it was for me with Chinese. Once I felt like I understood about 60% of what they said, I could guess the meaning of what the rest of what they were saying was. So it should be okay, Leonardo. It should be okay. I think that's normal. Okay? Nothing is easy. There is no easy, guys. If you want to climb a mountain, okay, so let me ask you a question. How many people around the world want to climb Mount Everest every year? There are many people who want to climb Mount Everest, but is there an easy way to do it? Is there an easy way to get to the top of Mount Everest? No. There's no easy way. It's only hard. So guess what? Learning a language is the same as Mount Everest. If it were easy, then everybody would do it. If it were easy, everyone would do it. So stop looking for a shortcut. There is no shortcut. Just start walking. Again. Again. The verb can, it doesn't have a declination for he, she, or it. He can, she can, it can. Cans, no. No. Never. Mm-mm. Exasperation is stronger level of annoyance. In what context usually is it used? To be exasperated, to feel exasperation. Yeah, it's a word that means you feel frustrated and annoyed, but it is a more formal word. So because it's a more formal word, when you use it, people will think you're more upset, you're more bothered, right? So if you say I'm annoyed, that's here. If you say I'm frustrated, that's here. If you say I'm exasperated, that's here. Okay? Okay, Xmind, I'm an English teacher. I've been teaching English for 15 years. I have 80,000 followers around the world. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to tell you that you don't get to give advice here. I'm the teacher. I'm the one who provides advice for people, not you. Okay? If you did it, great. But to be honest with you, you did not achieve a fluency in 6 months because I can see many mistakes in your writing. That's not fluent. Okay? So, it's good. What you did is good. I'm not trying to say you're not good. But Be humble. Be humble. One. And two, there's only one teacher in this room. Me. Okay? Give you an effortless way of pronouncing the long and tough words correctly at first sight. There is no. There's practice. Everybody wants an easy way. How can you learn the tone of a sentence? Well, that depends on the sentence, Emma. Every sentence is different. Language is like music, okay? Every sentence is different, and every performer plays it differently, okay? 大家现在我们没有抖音，我没有抖音 okay? 现在 Puan, how to be good in the TOEFL? Study. If you're going to ask a big question, I'm going to give you a big answer. Go to my website, look at the resources, start learning them. Okay? 15. Okay, but what I'm trying to tell you, X-Mind, is I don't think your advice is beneficial to anyone. I think it's unrealistic to tell millions of people that they can learn English in 6 months. If it were that easy, then everyone would do it and I wouldn't have 80,000 followers. Okay? So if you did it, that's great, and I'm happy for you. But don't pretend like what you did is something everyone can do. It's not. Okay? You had a certain ability, a certain knowledge, a certain prerequisite that you understood, right? So it's different for you. All right? Right, Joe said it better than I did. Can is one of the modal verbs, right? I love that term, the modal verb. And like all of them, they do not need any suffixes. That's correct. That's correct. Thank you, Joe. That was said much better than I previously did. Yes, you can get free classes from Harvard. I know. That's great, right? Isn't that awesome? Okay, I'm going to try to talk to, let's see, Amerti is still raising their hand, but they didn't come up when I asked them. I don't know why. How about Yanni, or Jani? I'm not sure. What is going on with this? It keeps telling me failed to invite to speak. Let's see, what's wrong here? Hold on, let me take a picture so they can see. Oh, look, it worked this time. Maybe. One moment, everybody. Yeah, it's not working. I don't know why. Confirm. Failed to invite to speak. Please try again. Confirm. Failed to invite to speak. Please try again. I'll have to send that to them so they can fix that later. I don't know why, but I tried to invite people on the stage and they couldn't. Tame, stop. You're in the wrong place, Tame. Okay, I'm sorry, but you're in the wrong place. Do you know why you're in the wrong place? There are no lazy students in my class. Okay? You want everything easy. Every question you have asked since you've been here has been a question about how you can do things without work. No. Okay? This is free right now. I am teaching you for free right now. Okay? That's it. That's all you get. But honestly, I think you need to change your attitude, Tame. You can't become great without doing great things. Tame, did you hear me? You cannot become great without doing great things. Okay? You're not a very less person. No, I didn't call you a bad person. I'm saying stop being lazy. Stop being lazy. Just start doing it. You are no different than anyone else. You can climb this mountain just like anyone else can. Okay? So I'm not saying you're terrible. I'm saying stop being lazy and stop asking how you can get great things without doing great things. You cannot get great things without doing great things. Okay? You cannot get the respect of climbing the mountain without climbing the mountain. Okay? Climbing a mountain is hard. Accept it. Okay? So, Tame, just change your attitude. Understand. Respect is earned through hard work. Okay? All right, guys, I've got to go. I've been here for 2 hours. It's time to go. So, I'm going to give you guys my website one more time. There's my website. Okay, go to my website and you can sign up and you can find my schedule. Let me show you my website, guys. Let me show you my website very quickly here. Look here, everybody. This is my website, afiecenglish.com. Wait, let me go to the top. Here it is, home. Okay, and if you go to my website, you'll find the schedule up here at the top. You can click on here and you'll find the schedule. Okay, and look. There's my schedule for advanced vocabulary, okay? And describe it, another stream, and this one, and what would you say, and it's idiomatic, and free chat, okay? So if you go to my website, you can find my schedule, and you'll see, so you can know when I'm going to be here, right? You'll know when I have live streams and when I have voice streams, all right? Yes, I have YouTube also. There's my YouTube, okay? And you can also go to this resources page up here. And if you click on resources, everything you need for studying is right here, okay? If you want to practice and study, then go to my website, all right? Okay, so guys, I gotta go. It's, what time is it now? 11:09. It's time for me to go. I'm going to go have some lunch. But thank you guys for coming. Make sure you follow. I have about 80,000 followers here on Hello Talk. Okay, 80,000. I've been on Hello Talk for almost 12 years. I am an English teacher. I have my certification, my TEFL certification. I have about 15 years of experience. Okay, this is my job. Okay, and I like my job, so I try to be good at it. All right. I have 5 live streams and 5 voice streams every week. Okay. So come follow me and share, comment, like, share, comment, like. Help me help you. Okay. Help me help you. Share, comment, like. Okay. All right. Thank you guys. I'll see you guys next time. Okay. Bye-bye.